Lucy's Kitchen, it's Lucy's Kitchen. She's Lucy and she's got a kitchen. Lucy's Kitchen.
And now that we've got your attention, let's cook. Hi there. Welcome to Lucy's Kitchen. I'm Lucy, and this is my kitchen. Today we're going to make Greek zucchini fritters. Zucchini fritters are little fried zucchini cakes, and they are absolutely delicious. I think once you try them, you'll like to make them often. They're a wonderful vegetarian dish. You can have them as a main course. You can have them as a side dish. You can even make them into tiny patties and have them as an appetizer, as they do in Greece. They often have these as appetizers, but they will eat them as a main course as well, because Greeks like to have at least a couple of vegetarian days a week. So this is a popular dish, and it's an easy one to learn how to make. Now, in zucchini fritters, we have shredded zucchini, and I've got about 4 cups of shredded zucchini here, and we've also got some green onions. Now, scallions are absolutely perfect because they give a fresh but savory flavor to our fritters. We've got a half a cup of chopped parsley. We've got about a quarter of a cup of chopped fresh mint, and a good tablespoon of chopped fresh oregano, Greek oregano if possible. I've got some dill, which is from the garden, about a tablespoon of that, a little pepper, and eggs, of course, to help bind the whole thing together. In addition, we've got a couple of different cheeses. Of course, we start with our Greek feta cheese, and it's crumbled. Smells delicious, a little salty, perfect, because then that means we don't have to add any more salt other than the half teaspoon I've already put in here, and I'll explain that in a minute. And then I've got a half a cup of Parmesan cheese. Now, you could use Greek cheeses if you have access to them, such as kefalotiri or kasseri, because they are really, really perfect cheeses for this dish. But Parmesan cheese works very well because it's a nice hard cheese. Is good for grating, and that's what we want, is for a cheese to hold up inside of these patties. And then we've got half a cup of breadcrumbs and half a cup of flour. So what we want to do is we want to grate our zucchini, and I grated 2 large zucchinis and got 4 cups out of that. I sprinkled it with a half a teaspoon of salt and sort of tossed it around, put it into a strainer to allow as much liquid to drain as possible. And there's just a little bit in the bottom, but if you touch it, it's quite wet. And one thing we really want to do is get as much liquid out of the zucchini as we can. So the trick is that after it has sat and given up a lot of its juices, in fact, I'm going to even press it a little bit with my spatula and get as much juice out as I can. And let's see, yeah, oh, it's a little bit. Okay, final step is to put it into a towel and really drain everything. We're going to squeeze it until all of the liquid comes out. So there's our zucchini. Spread it out a little bit and take my towel and then just squeeze it. And I'm going to show you what happens when we squeeze it. Literally, liquid comes pouring out. I should have left my bowl there, but I really wanted you to see how much liquid still is in this zucchini. Luckily, I have another towel. We'll just put that down. So once we feel like we've really gotten all of the liquid out of here, and I don't think we have quite yet, but I'm going to try again. Oh yeah, there's still quite a bit. In fact, take it and twist it a number of different ways to really get all of that out. Okay, wow. That is a lot of liquid. Now, I'm guessing that when we come back to measuring our zucchini, we're going to have something less than 4 cups, but that's fine because we started off with 4 cups. So I'm just going to dump it right in here, and much drier. There's a little bit left on your towel, easy to scrape down, just shake it a little and it'll all come off, and put it aside. Okay, now to our zucchini, we want to add all of our other ingredients. So I'm going to start with my herbs, my mint, my dill. This is, actually that's the mint. The other one was the oregano. And use my little spatula to get all that good stuff out. Parsley and our onions. Okay, and our pepper. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to stir this up and kind of make sure that the ingredients, this set of ingredients is nicely mixed before we add any of our other wet ingredients. So you can even do this with your hands if you like. But basically, we just want to distribute the herbs and savories throughout the zucchini. And it'll make the rest of the mixing a little bit easier later. Okay, that's probably good. All right, I'm going to put my cheese in here. And the feta cheese. And again, gently stir it up so that we can get it mixed a little bit. Then I'm going to put the breadcrumbs in and the flour. And before I put the eggs in, I want to beat them a little bit. So I'm going to just use a fork and beat them so that they're mixed together before I even add them in here. That's pretty good. But before I add the eggs, I'm going to go ahead and mix this one more time. And this time I'm going to use this nice big fork so that I can really get this mixed well. It's nice to have everything beautifully distributed before we add our eggs. And if you're looking at the zucchini, you can see that it's pretty dry. And if the zucchini were wet like it is when you first grate it, this would really be a mess, kind of mushy. It's not going to be as, well, they're not going to hold together the same way if they're mushy. So we want them to be nice and dry before they're all mixed together. And that's that. Now I'm going to throw in my eggs. So now we want to gently use our fork to kind of toss it around. Again, you can use your hands. The advantage of using your hands is you can really feel all the way to the bottom and see whether it's gotten its fair share of all the ingredients, including the egg. So we want it to all hold together when we put it in the frying pan. All right, and that's it. Now join me over at the stove and I'll show you how to fry these little puppies and then we'll give them a try. Okay, so the secret to making good Greek zucchini fritters, Kolokithokeftedes, is to fry them in very hot oil. I'm using a refined olive oil, which cooks at a very high temperature. It's very good to use for frying things, actually. And I've been heating up my pan, which is pretty warm. I'm going to put 3 tablespoons in here. We don't need a lot of oil. We're not deep frying these, we're pan frying them. So I'm just going to put in enough oil to sort of skim the bottom of the pan. Maybe just a little more. And then we'll add more oil as we go if we need more. And you can make these all kinds of sizes. You can use a little tiny scooper and make them into, sort of zucchini balls. But I like to make them slider size. They make a very good side dish that way. So I'm using it's an ice cream scoop. So it's not a very big one, but it's not a very small one either. And I'm not letting it overflow. I'm just kind of filling it up. Well, first let's test our oil. Okay, I'm filling it up, and then I'm going to carefully drop it in there. And using the back of my scooper, flatten out the fritter into a patty. Do that. And we only want to do a few at a time. Cook it in batches. And then we can keep them warm in the oven if we're going to serve them pretty soon. Otherwise, we can still put them on a rack, let them cool off, and then just before serving, you can warm them up again in the oven and crispen them up, and they will be almost as good as when you pull them out of the hot oil. So this is a beautiful looking fritter. I almost call them little burgers. But they're good size. So this size is very handy, again, for a side dish or even a main course. And I think these would make actually very tasty vegetarian burgers, little zucchini burgers. Put that on a bun with some tzatziki and you've got something going. So we let them fry for a few minutes till they're firm. We don't turn them over until they're really firm on one side and that they've browned. And then we flip them over, let them brown, and then they're done. So I'll be back with you when we're ready to flip. All right, these are ready to flip. And the way you can tell is that they're very, very brown right around the edges. So I'm going to use a spatula to help me flip it. There we go. Quite attractive. And again, nice. Now, a secret is the oil starts getting super hot as we go along. So we definitely want to turn it down after a couple of minutes, certainly after the first batch. But it takes a while for the pan and the oil to get hot enough for it to make a difference. So I'm not turning it down quite yet, but on my next batch I definitely will. We don't want them to brown too fast, but we definitely want them to be crisp. There we go. They are beautiful. So we'll let them cook on this side, and then I'm going to put them onto the rack that's standing by. Now, I'm going to serve them later, so I'm just going to let them cool off on the rack, except for the ones I taste, of course. But as I said, if you wanted to keep them warm for dinner, you can just pop them in a warm oven, about 200 to 250 degrees, and they'll stay nice and hot and crispy until it's time to serve. Okay, so this one's the first one I put in. I'm going to take it out because it's done. So let's get that one on there. Look at that. That's perfect. And I'm using a spatula so that I don't splatter, and also so they don't break apart when we turn them. So turn that over and see how the other side is doing. And oh yes, these are perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and take them out. And this one, let's take a look at the other side. Now this one's kind of falling apart a little bit. Whoops. Here, let's do this like that. Okay, turn it over. Oh yeah, excellent. All right, and here's a little baby one. And here's another little baby one. We're going to test those out later. So back to our mix of zucchini and cheese and eggs and flour and all those good things. I'm going to try a little something else for speed. I'm going to just go ahead and put them in there. And, ooh, okay. Now, I think I'll use my spatula to flatten them. Ooh, yes. That works better. And I'm going to turn the heat down. It's starting to get hot. And we don't want them to burn. We want them to cook all the way through. So we don't want them to burn on one side. Once the oil is really hot, something to watch out for. And that's it. All right. So now let's try to, these really are going fast. Just going to take a quick peek, and I think we might want to take a look at that. This is why you have to watch them carefully and watch your temperature carefully because it could be brown already. So that's starting to get very brown. And we're going to turn it once or twice more to make sure that it's thoroughly cooked. But just wanted to show you that this is starting to brown, but it's not quite ready. So the rest of these, let's see. See, that's starting to brown beautifully, and we don't want it to brown much more than that. And now I love using a cast iron pan because it gives me even heat. If you have a regular pan, you might have a hot spot right where the flame is, but this distributes the heat pretty nicely. All right, our last batch is almost ready. I'm going to turn them over and check them out. And, oh, isn't that gorgeous? That's perfect. Okay, so I think we can be pretty, oh, that one needs a little more. I'm going to go ahead and let that sit there, but I can take this one out. Let's check this one. Yep, that one is done. See how we're doing here. That one needs another second. And I think that's done now. And this one too. And that's it. Really quick, really easy, and really delicious. So let's meet over at the counter and we'll confirm that they're delicious. And opa! Beautiful zucchini fritters. Kolokithokeftedes. If you want to learn how to say that, let's say it together. Kolokithokeftedes. It's a tough one. But zucchini fritters, they're Greek, they're wonderful. You can eat them just like this. Or you can add some tzatziki sauce to them, which is the perfect accompaniment. Now, tzatziki is easy to make. If you don't know how to make it, go back and view my Lucy's Kitchen show that taught you how to make tzatziki, and you can just go to lucyskitchenshow.com for the recipe for tzatziki and the recipe for this as well. So here we go. This beautiful sauce is going to just make these absolutely stunning. And that's it. Opa. Okay, I'm really excited about this, and I hope they're as good as they look. Well, first of all, let's take a look at that bite. Beautiful green. Yum. Excellent. Really savory, crunchy, tangy, cheesy. They are just so good. I love these. They make a wonderful, wonderful dish. You can taste all the herbs, mint and dill, the certain something that Greek cooking always has. Tzatziki is a perfect accompaniment for it. And I just think this is a wonderful dish to have available to you if you want to make some beautiful side dishes or appetizers, or you have a vegetarian friend coming and you want to make it as the main course. I think you'll really like it. So I hope you give it a try. And if you do, please let us know. Write to me at lucyskitchen.com and let me know what you think of my recipe. I think you'll like it very much, and I hope you give it a try. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining us here at Lucy's Kitchen Show. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and come back next time when we share more delicious recipes from my kitchen to yours.